eye and ENT services evening, and Saturday services. They sell contact lenses. Remember, they have specialized staff such as ophthalmologists, opticians, and specialized doctors with experience in other fields with both international and local exposure. You can locate them opposite Wesley Girls High School here in Cape Coast. You can find them and Kakomdo. You can call them for more information via 0332091232 or via their email saljan@gmail.com. Like we do every Monday, it's time with the counseling center here in your University of Competitive Choice. My guest to help us with the conversation, Mrs. Bridget B. Nzima or Baba Nzima Mensah. She's a counselor with the counseling center here in UCS. This morning we are talking about relationship addiction. I'm sure you're wondering which arena we're getting into. It's with us. We experience it. It happens to us. It can happen to you. So you want to stay glued. If you have any questions, just reach us 027514 49 49 0595 7438 66. Let's do this together. Good morning, Mrs. Bridget Baba Nzima Mensah.
Good morning.
I trust you're doing well.
Yes.
Where are you taking us today? Relationship addiction. What is relationship addiction?
Nana,
I only know of
much.
drug addiction. I know of some other forms of addiction. But this one, tell us.
Okay, so I want to say a very good morning to your listeners. Good morning to the director of the Counseling Center, Dr. Mrs. Rita Ajovie, and her very able team. Okay, so we're talking about relationship addiction. It's also known as relationship dependence, and would say is a pattern of behavior that is characterized by an intense emotional attachment to a romantic partner. That's what we are interested in this morning. And is often accompanied by a loss of personal identity, very important, and then autonomy, and then emotional well-being.
So you lose all these.
Yes.
Your personal identity, your autonomy.
Autonomy, and your well-being. So I would say is a compulsive need to seek or be in a relationship, often at the cost of your personal well-being, your personal welfare. Yeah. So it's habitual. It's compulsive. That's what we mean by habitual or uncontrollable in nature.
Why is it important for one to know about this?
It is very important because Nana, approximately 10 to 15% of the general, population experiences relationship addiction, according to the American Psychological Association. And one in every 5 women and one in every 10 men usually experience relationship addiction.
By this, it means it's more prevalent in women
it is,
than in men.
It is. And it helps us, knowing about it helps us to actually prioritize our emotional well-being and our mental health and seek support when needed, to prevent consequences like depression, which is on high, and anxiety. You remember we talked about anxiety the last time I was here, and even suicidal thought, to prevent these actions as well. And then also it helps us to cope with life stresses so that we'll be able to realize our potentials, or should I say our abilities, and contribute to the community. And it helps us to also know our attachment patterns. Do we have attachment issues? Should we be looking at them? It makes us aware of these things. And if somebody is experiencing this, I think that this conversation would help you become informed so that you give support to such a person.
0275 14 49 49 0595 7438 66. These are engagement platforms. If you have any questions, you have any concerns, you're suffering the same, you want to share with us, my resource person is here to help us deal with this. Let's do this together. It's a conversation that involves you, may involve somebody, or may happen to somebody around you. You want to get a solution right here so we can all stay safe. But how do I know what I'm going through as a relationship addiction or dependence? Are there some rudiments that come with it?
Thank you for that very important question. Okay, so Nana, about 75% of individuals with relationship addiction usually report that they feel trapped. They feel as though they are stuck in the relationship, right? So they are most of the time afraid of being alone or single. I've handled quite a number of cases where people are telling me they don't want to experience that kind of loneliness, and so they would prefer to be in a relationship of a kind. It doesn't matter if it's toxic or not, right? And so there's the issue of prioritizing the relationship over their personal growth and constantly seeking validation of a kind, through these relationship, should I say, romantic connections. Somebody sent me a note, and I've asked permission to read the note. It went like this: sometimes you feel as if it's worthless to live when you know you can't even be the master of your own self-talk, less of being the master of your dependence. When you use your own mind and heart to search and invite turmoil, daily turmoil, into your own being. When you use your actions to call for disrespect, and the person puts that into brackets, an understatement, to your own self. When in all your lifetime you make choices that always bring you pain, when you can't even get the strength to make something good out of life, and when you can't even get the strength to make something good out of, life, when you can't just make sound, independent decisions and stay by them, and when you have a lot of resources available to make something good out of life, but you are not able to do that. So when most of your thoughts are disgraceful, and that's the part that caught my attention, when most of your thoughts are disgraceful and shouldn't be voiced, not nice to the ears, when you can't even develop self-respect, dignity and love in all good qualities for your own self and expect others to have that for you, when you can't figure out exactly what you want in life and work towards it, when you can't even stick to the more important things you want to know in your life, right? And when you are just dressed outside, Nana, take a look at that. When you are just dressed outside looking like a real and sane human being, and from the outside, but inside you feel insane. Yes. And when the struggle seems unending, then exactly what are you living for?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. How are we able to decipher between relationship addiction and healthy or true love? I'm sure somebody may be going through some of these things and it's genuine. It's nothing short of pure love. How do we separate the two?
Okay. So, Nana, let me just talk about a few things that we would see with addictive relationships, so that we'll be able to determine if we have one or we have a healthy one. So emotionally, there are obsessive thoughts about their partner. They are preoccupied with the partner or the relationship, and this includes constant thoughts about the partner, their actions and their feelings. And then there's also repetitive negative thinking, patterns, conflicts,
Example
rejections.
of these repetitive negative thinking patterns?
Most of the time, they can't just do away with their phones. They think about their partners all the time. They are thinking about where they are, what they are doing. Are they cheating on them? What's happening to them? Are they having conversations with other people and all of that? They keep sending messages all through the day, right? They want to be on video call with you, even if you are busy doing something. They don't mind having the video on as you move around and do other things. And if you don't give access to that, it becomes a problem. So
how bad can this be? To what extent can it go that will become just like the piece you read, will become insane to the ordinary person?
Nana, it goes to the extent of people wanting to die, people wanting to, have physical confrontations with their partners, with people they perceive as their rivals, right? And it makes them unable to concentrate on their daily lives. They can't concentrate on work, and therefore they would have to always be dependent on other people. They become anxious and stressed because they are most of the time feeling like they are not worth it, and they would have to put up with a certain behavior to meet your expectation and to meet your acceptance.
People, you're still tuned into ATL FM 100.5. This is the issue segment on the Atlantic Way, proudly brought to us by Salgin Medical Center. My guest in studio this morning from the Counseling Center, the Guidance and Counseling Center here in the UCC, Mrs. Bridget Baba Nzima Mensah, helping us. She's a counselor, and I'm sure this resonates with you and people around you. You might have heard, you might have seen, you might have experienced. You want to share your thoughts with us. 027514 4949 0595 7438 66. Now let's draw the line between addiction and healthy love.
Nana, when it comes to the differences, when it comes to relationship addiction, a lot of obsessive feelings, they are all consuming and intense emotional connections. But then when it is a healthy one that we describe, we say is a deep, intimate and mutually respectful emotional connection. So there's no obsession and it's not all consuming. That's one thing you need to differentiate. And then also when it comes to autonomy and independence, there's a loss of personal identity in the addictive one, but when it comes to the healthy one, there's respect for each other's individual autonomy and their dependence. They are able to decide that from morning to evening, I'm not going to connect with you. Can we speak at the end of the week? Is that all right with you? Can we go out? Can we decide not to go out and engage in other ventures, and it won't bring any form of problems whatsoever. In terms of communication and conflict resolution, in addictive relationships, there's poor communication, there's intense conflict and lack of effective conflict resolution. However, when it comes to healthy relationship, there's open, honest and respectful communication with effective conflict resolution and willingness to compromise. So if your partner is willing to compromise, you would know that yes, we have a healthy one there. And then also when it comes to boundaries and personal space, there's total disregard for personal boundaries and a lack of respect for each other's needs and desires with the addictive relationship. But when it comes to the healthy, there's respect for these boundaries and all the rest. Personal space is given, right? And individual needs are also given. And then also when it comes to emotional regulation and stability, right, Nana, there's emotional instability, intense mood swings, what we call the euphoria and the lows. It happens in addictive relationships. At one point, they love you so much. They can't live without you and all of that. And sometimes when they go low, this is the addictive part of it, they become very disrespectful. They break up with you in the morning, and by evening they have regretted and they are calling back and they are dragging themselves here and there for your sake. They wouldn't mind doing anything, just to have you back. And then trust and commitment. There's unhealthy attachment patterns, right? Possessiveness and fear of abandonment. You I'm sure you've witnessed one or two incidents where people feel that they own some other person, and so other people shouldn't be speaking to them in a certain manner, shouldn't be communicating with them and interacting with them in a certain manner. It's unhealthy, it's addictive in nature. But when it comes to healthy love, there's mutual respect, there's commitment, a willingness to work through challenges and grow together.
Great. For the sake of time, I want us to have this in 2 weeks. Maybe next week we may want to continue with this. I want us to look at what actually causes it and then how to get out of this addiction. Maybe we can treat that next week. But just to conclude, that is it possible that somebody may be addicted to you? A party is unaware that somebody is addicted and the person is dying, the person is going over the moon.
Yes, Nana, I love that question. Yes, there are quite a number of instances where people are covertly, right, addicted to you and you are not aware about them. They tend to behave in a certain way. They would make excessive contact with you, and they initiate frequent communication of a kind through text messages, and the rest. You know what is happening now when it comes to social media. They try and catch your attention one way or the other, and then intrusive behavior. They show up unexpectedly, right, at events that they know definitely you would be present, and they will swing around you, they will smile around you and pretend as if they just bumped into.
And when they get a smile from you, that's the whole day is made up.
That is something else. And they will tell you they are so grateful for your friendship and all of that. Indeed, they are grateful because they feel very low when it comes to esteeming themselves, right, appraising themselves. And then they bring you gifts. They shower gifts, on to you, or should I say gift on you, and big gifts, small gifts, whatsoever. And it makes you feel good.
I have a feeling you have a lot of case scenarios we can look at. I would want to add that to next week's conversation. But
that's right.
We're grateful this morning. I'm sure you've been super resourceful. We want to end it here, but we've not had enough of you yet. So we will continue next week, Monday. But thank you. We are grateful for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
People, you just heard from Mrs. Bridget Baba-Nzima-Mensah. She's a counselor with the Guidance and Counseling Center here in UCC. There's a part 1 of relationship addiction, or you can call it dependence. You want to watch yourself and be vigilant. You may be caught up in one. You're still tuning into ATL FM